Well, folks, I have personally seen probably 12 Mario Baba movies this year. 12 to 15, including Shock, which I just filmed prior to this one. And I figure that the man knows how to make freaking atmosphere with his painter background and everything. And continuing with the peplum sword and sorcery movies, we've got Hercules in the Haunted World from 1962, starring Reb Reg Beach, a bodybuilder who just I don't know how he managed to star in this one. Probably the same thing with Steve Reeves. Hercules' wife is haunted. It's almost like part of her soul is missing. What's going on? Well, it turns out that something has befallen the city where they're at. Her soul is down in Hades in the underworld, and it is up to our hero Theseus and then some comic relief character to holy travel down into Hades and acquire a stone that will lift the curse that's on the city. But prior to that, they have to go to this kingdom of eternal darkness, or whatever it's called, get a golden apple so that way they can survive in Hades in the first place, and then manage to get them, and then caught, and then have some drama going on about the king who shall be eternal, all within 81 minutes. And overall, I liked this one, but it is, like I'm going to say, first and foremost, it is low budget, but it's an enjoyable low budget. Let me explain. So, yeah, let's see. Your the adventure is fine. You get a couple of sets of where these ladies are and how they are a slave of someone I forgot who, but you get the nice big tall chambers of which they're at, and a scene which Hercules has to climb a tree, grab the apple, and for about this happens for about roughly I don't know 5 to 10 minutes. It's an all right scene. You know, there's a little bit of comic relief with the third person who says, "Oh, great! In this kingdom, they either have beds that are too long or too short." So, well, Theseus is resting on a long bed. Poor guy has his knees like this, so it's just can't even catch a dang break. And then Hercules acquires the apple, throws a rock, of course, massive rock, manages to bring it down, and then they travel to Hades. And Hades set is obviously they zoom very far out just to show that it's like obviously miniatures that they're using with a rope over fire or what is that, the Shadow of Hades or whatever it's called, that where there's a woman that's chained up and said, "Hey, if you release me, I'll be a slave." It just turns out it's probably like a demon or something. But yeah, this part I liked because we get some adventure that's doesn't have like massive ships or anything. It's something different. I like that. But you can tell the effects here were cheap. Even with the fake with the artificial flames and the lava that they probably shot as separate B-roll, which whatever. Um, and then Theseus passes on, but then he gets awoken. He sees his a lover down there, and they eventually match. I'm like, okay, how far are we in? 49 minutes. Well, I don't know. And then they managed to clear through Hades, and they said, "Oh, you have offended the gods because because you used the golden apple, you survived." I'm just like, whatever. So, well, and then we get towards the end of Theseus and Hercules talking about love and things like that, saying, "Hey, like because you offended the gods, like one of us has to pass on." Those two kind of get into a scuffle, but then the lady is like, "I just want to experience happiness for a little bit. I know what's going on. I'm going to go far away from here." So he wakens and says, "Okay, that's." He says, like, "I had a dream about a lady. Turns out that at the end it was the comic relief characters getting married to a lady, but before that, Hercules has to go through to get to the final boss or whatever of going taking down some undead minions and going up towards Christopher Lee's character. Yes, he is definitely in this movie, and I could tell by the face or whatever. This is pretty very deep bearded Christopher Lee. That was a poor imitation. But, it's like it was interesting. It was cool to see, and I could tell Baba's influence right there. To see the coffins arise was just the right sound. That was pretty cool. So he has to pretty much take them down by throwing stones, and makes his way over to where the Schmuck King is, and the son. Like I said, yeah, we think that the king's going to gain eternal life because they say that the dragon is going to engulf the moon or whatever, and for a little bit it does, but eventually it passes, just like the solar eclipses that we've had in the past couple of years. Not really engaging or thrilling. Saves the day, and everything's good. It's like, this is the most straightforward action adventure that could happen on a limited Italian telling of Hercules, and that is fine. It's fine for what it is. But yeah, obviously it's a B-grade movie. But at the same time, because of how amazing everything looks, you gotta at least see it and respect it. I can find a Blu-ray of this. I will give it a watch because this version actually had the Italian language and it sounded good. It just looked so freaking bad with the 360p, but whatever. Despite all that, I am becoming a fan of peplum for the amazing ways of how they look. So yeah, do I recommend that you watch Hercules in the Haunted World? Actually, yes, I do.